Hello, grade 4. How are you? Today we're gonna start a new lesson. This one is chapter 5, lesson 2, resources and economy. And you know that this lesson about the South region in America, resources and economy in South America. Okay, let's start. Here is, guys, we started by the first title, production in the South. You know, guys, that people anywhere in South America, North America, in Egypt, anywhere, okay? Try to use the resources of their country to make goods and service, right? For example, in your country, because we live in Egypt, we use seas in Egypt. We use the Red Sea, we use the Mediterranean Sea, we use the Nile River, we use the mountains of Egypt, we use the land of Egypt in farming. We use every resource, every physical feature we have in our country, we use it to make goods and service. Also, people who live in South America, they use the resources in South America to make what? To make goods and service. Okay? So, for example, they use the water of the rivers. You know that the Mississippi River moves in America, in South America. So they use the water of rivers and they use the water of what else? Of the Atlantic Ocean. And also because the South located along the Atlantic Ocean and Gulf of Mexico. So they use these waters by building dams to produce electricity. What the meaning of dam? Dam, we talked it before, guys, many times. Dam, it's like a huge wall. It's like a barrier, very big wall. Okay, this barrier built across the river. Why? To control the flow of the water and the level of the water. You know, sometimes because of heavy rain, if it rains heavily, okay, the water of rivers carry too much water, so it may be cause flooding. So to prevent the flooding, people built the dams to prevent flooding by carrying out this extra water. And we can use this extra water in running the water turbines to produce electricity. And we use that operation before how it happened. Okay, now we're going to speak about goods and service from natural resources. Does the South have natural resource? Of course, like any region, the South have many natural resources, have many physical features that Allah created in this region. Okay, what are the natural resources does the South have? Number one, the South America has rich soil. You remember when I told you that east of America, okay, the part of New England and middle colonies, يعني they didn't have a rich water, but the middle colonies, yes, some parts of the middle colonies have rich soil, not rich water, I'm sorry, rich soil. New England colonies didn't have rich soil, but the middle colonies and the southern colonies have rich soil. So because we speak here about South America, or the southern colonies in America, okay, the southern states nowadays, they have rich soil and they grow, or the rich soil allow the southern to grow many crops, okay, such as what? Such as cotton, such as orange, such as peaches, peanuts, and add to them tobacco. Here, these are the most famous products or the most famous plants that are farmed in South America. Okay, what else? What else of the natural resources does the South have? Number two, waterways. Here, I mean by waterways, if the South have a river or ocean or sea or canal or any waterway. So you know that the South has the Atlantic Ocean and also Gulf of Mexico. We use the water of Gulf of Mexico and we use the water of the Atlantic Ocean, also the water of the Mississippi River. Don't forget, we use it to catch fish. We use it to extract sea salt. Of course, we use it also in boating, means building ships and carry goods and people. Also, we use the water in producing power. Here, power, I mean electricity. Okay. What else? The South has warm climate, and we discussed that before. You know that the South is quietly near the equator, right? The south, quietly near the equator. We talked before the location of the south and what was the climate in the south. So we know that the south has warm climate because it's quietly near the equator. So the government use or benefit from the warm climate in the south to build many amusement parks, to build golf, to build hotels. Okay, so you can take your vacation in South America and enjoy the warm weather in South America. Okay, what else? The natural resources in the south, oil and gas. They has oil and gas, okay, and they use that in making gasoline and in making plastics. You know that these kinds of oil and gas, we use it in making plastic. Okay, what else? They have the Appalachian Mountains. The southern in South America have the Appalachian Mountains, and we extract what from the Appalachian Mountains? We extract coal. And how we use coal? We use coal in making electricity and in running special kinds of machines. Okay, what else? The South has many forests, and we can use the wood of the tree forest in making paper, in making furniture, okay, in making lumber, this kind of wood. So these are some natural resources in the South and how people who live in South America use it. They use the rich soil in planting, they use the waterways in fishing and extracting salt, in boating or shipping, and in power. Making power here means producing electricity. They use or benefit from the warm climate in building parks, golf, and hotels. They use the oil and gas, okay, in making plastics and gasoline. They use the coal in producing electricity and running some machines. They use the wood of the forest in making paper and furniture. Okay, now we're gonna move to something related to economy. You know that our lesson is divided into two parts, resources and economy. Okay, now we know what are the natural resources of the South, but what about the economy? Listen, guys, to understand what the meaning of economy in general means money, how the government make money, the economy of the country based on the resources of the country. How each country make money by using the resources. If I use the, for example, if I use I'm a country and I have rich soil, so I can plant this rich soil and plant many kinds of vegetables and fruits. And when I start to sell these fruits and vegetables, I earn too much money. And this money I earn is my economy. Okay? So if the country have too much natural resources, of course, it will make many projects that can bring too much money. And now, if I bring too much money, my economy is very high or is very good. So now, these idioms related to the part of economy. The first idiom we have today is producer. What the meaning of producer? Producer means that someone, okay, who make or sell goods or sell or service for consumers. Means what? You know, anybody has a factory is called the producer. Anybody make a good at factory is called producer. And sometimes some producer make handcraft items, okay? So anybody make products or make goods at home or at factories, they are called producers. So if your father have a factory, for example, now your father is a producer. If your mother, for example, make handcraft items and sell these products she made at home, so now your mother is a producer. Okay. What about the consumer? Consumer means that there's someone who used these goods. Okay. Now, for example, your father has a factory of chairs. Okay. Now he is producer. Okay. I am Mrs. Mayada is a consumer. Why? Because I use the chair your father do at his house, at his factory. Okay, so now the consumer is the person who use the goods. The person who use the goods or buy the goods is called consumer. Listen, guys, all producers could be consumers. How? I know that producers are people who making goods, but sometimes they use other goods they don't make. Okay, if your father have a factory of chairs, but he needs other goods, he needs the beds, he needs the food, he needs the bags, he needs the clothes, he needs many things. So he is consumer in the same time because he used other goods his factory doesn't make. So all producers could be consumers in the same time, but not all consumers can be producers. For example, I told you that I am consumer. I used the chair that your father did at his factory, but I don't make any good, right? So I am not a producer. I'm only consumer. So the producers could be consumers, but not all consumers could be producers. So here in manufacturing, manufacturing means making goods at factories. Producers turn the raw material into goods. How? For example, I told you if your father has a factory to make chairs, so to make a chair, what your father needs? Your father is a producer. He need glue, he need wood, he need workers, okay? And I told you that he is consumer in the same time because he used the chairs that he made, okay, and he used the other goods he didn't make at his factory. You know, guys, in Texas, in South America, Texas famous is very famous of planting cotton, and we use cotton to make yarn, and then we use yarn to make cloth, and then we use cloth to make any kinds of clothes, t-shirts, shirts, skirts, dresses, anything we need. Okay. Let's move to the next title, a diverse economy. What's the meaning of diverse economy? Now you know, guys, that the South economy depends mainly on farming. I told you that South America has rich soil and they planted all the lands in the South. Okay. And I told you that the most famous products or the most famous fruits and vegetables they make or they plant rice, cotton, tobacco, sugar cane, oranges, and they raise chicken and cattle. Okay? So most people in the South work in farming, but not all Southern. Not all people who live in South work as farmers. No, there are other jobs in the South they can have a job in. So other people work in manufacturing, means in factory and in service industry. Okay, they working in the field of manufacturing and building factories, industries, and so on. Okay, and I told you that the most famous industry in South is the cotton industry. Okay, they use cotton to make yarn and then cloth and then carpets, rugs, anything related to cotton. Okay, what else? I told you that the South has forests, and forests provide jobs related to the wood, like making furniture, like making paper. So they have lumber and paper and furniture industry too. So some people who live in the South work in farming. Some people work in clothes industry, some or cotton industry. Some people work in, yes, forest industry or paper industry. Okay. Also, they have oil industry. Okay. Oil industry because sometimes they fish the sharks and many kinds of fish that provide them with oil, and oil industry provide the southerns with many jobs. Not only that, they also have tourism because of that. Yes, good weather. Because they have warm weather, so they have the tourism industry. Okay, and it provides people with many jobs. Also, they have air transportation. They have one of the most famous airports in the world, and many people work in that field. Also, guys, they have government jobs, okay, like the military service if they work in the government, if they work as police officers and anything related to their army or their government. Okay. The last point we have today related to economy is making economic choices. And here we have two important idioms. The first idiom we have is scarcity. What the meaning of scarcity? Scarcity means there are not enough resources to provide a product or a service that people want. What the meaning of that? Listen, guys, scarcity means you don't have too much resources. Scarcity means you don't have too much resources. If we speak about, for example, about Saudi Arabia, you know that Saudi Arabia, it doesn't have rivers, okay? So it doesn't have too much fresh water, okay? So they have a scarcity in water. What did they have to do? They have to take fresh water from the other countries, and sometimes they try to search for digging wells to extract, yes, well water or the fresh water of the well. Okay, give us another example. America, for example, or most of the European countries, they have scarcity in oil. You know that we need oil to run machines, to run cars, to run all kinds of transportation. You know that most of the European countries, like England, France, most of the European countries have a scarcity in oil. What the meaning that they have a scarcity in oil? It means that they don't have too much oil. When you have a scarcity in something, it means that you don't have enough of that resource. Okay? So if I say, for example, I have a scarcity in bags, it means that I don't have too much bags. I have a scarcity in money. It means that I don't have too much money. Okay? I have a scarcity in rice, for example, in my home. It means that I don't have too much rice in my home for this month at least. Okay? So scarcity means you don't have much resources. Okay? Okay. In case of scarcity, what happens? If your country has scarcity, of course the prices will go up. How, Mrs. Mayada? You know that Saudi Arabia have a scarcity in water. So water in Saudi Arabia is very expensive. Yes. All the European countries, I told you, they have scarcity in oil. Okay? So oil and petrol in European countries is very, very expensive. To have a car in any European country and to charge this cars or your car with petrol, no, it's very expensive matter. Okay, so not all people in America and in Europe countries have cars. Why? Because cars need petrol and petrol there is very expensive. Okay, so if your country have scarcity in something, it means that the price of this resource is very expensive. Now the water in Saudi Arabia is very expensive. The petrol in America is very expensive. Okay, why? Because America doesn't have too much petrol and Saudi Arabia doesn't have too much water. Okay, the last point we have today is called opportunity cost. What the meaning of opportunity cost? Opportunity cost is what someone give up. Give up means leave. Okay, is what someone gives up or leave to get something else. What the meaning of that? Listen, guys. Now you have only $10. Okay, and you need, for example, to buy a face mask and to buy a pencil. For example, you want to buy a face mask and to buy a pencil. Now, the face mask with $10 also, and the pencil with $5, and you have only $10. What you have to do? You have to buy only one thing. You cannot, You cannot buy both. The mask is $10 and the pencil is $5 and what you have is only $10. So you have a choice to buy only the mask or to buy only the pencil? Okay, because the mask is very important for your health, so you decide to buy a mask, right? Okay, what about the pencil you need? Because you left the pencil, or the pencil is the something you didn't buy, this pencil is called opportunity cost. This pencil is called opportunity cost. So opportunity cost means is what you give up, is what you leave to get something else. Now you leave the pencil. Why? Because I don't have enough money. I bought only the mask, right? That's why, guys, if you buy expensive product, you don't have too much money to buy something else, right? So sometimes the countries that have a scarcity in something, they had to make opportunity cost. Okay. For example, now Saudi Arabia, because they have a scarcity in water, water is very expensive. Okay. They had opportunity cost. Not all people can buy this expensive water, so they have to leave something they need to buy water, right? Now the water is very expensive in Saudi Arabia and people need water. So what they have to do? They have to buy water and leave something else they need. So when they leave something else they need, it means that they make opportunity cost. Also in America, because petrol is very expensive. They have scarcity in petrol, right? So the petrol is very expensive. To buy petrol, it means that you will leave something else you need to buy. This something else you need to buy, but you left it, you don't buy it, it's called, yes, opportunity cost. All of these idioms, guys, it's related to economy, and if you're interested in that field, okay, you have to recognize what the meaning of each idiom. Listen to the video again, and if you need anything else, contact me anytime. Thank you, great for and goodbye.